the past have evolved into today's coliseums, only now we have digital gladiators battling in virtual sports events, as well as MMA, the real deal, people putting themselves in wheelchairs and killing each other. Along with this, mindless entertainment like talk shows are piped directly into our homes or even straight into the cell phones in our pockets. Politicians make grand promises of free things that many hypnotized in believing these promises, thanks to modern distractions, our own version of bread and circuses. Now we're faced with the same issue as ancient Rome. Fewer and fewer productive individuals and businesses are left to fund this madness. Think Atlas Shrugged and John Galt. Remember, folks, governments don't create prosperity, they consume it. That's why we're moving back to Austrian monetary economics away from Keynesian, because what Keynesian has done is what they've always done throughout history. Please get the white papers and review them. And let's see, American freedom. Let's take a look.
America was founded on an idea of freedom. America's always stepped forward in time of need throughout our short but powerful history.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Tear down this wall.
We've been there for all of it.
150.
The second plane hit the tower.
Our heroes are humble. They have an inner pride to keep this idea alive. Protectors are born, they're not made. Secret Service protecting this Super Bowl is asking a few more to step forward.
Warrior spirit Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba gives Trump a golden samurai helmet during the White House visit. North Gaza is a horror show for miles and miles as Israel thwarts aid. Libya finds 2 mass graves with bodies, nearly 50 migrants and refugees. Rights groups amid UN agencies have documented systemic abuse against migrants, refugees in Libya, including torture, rape, and extortion.
Agreed with them to restrict Elon Musk and his government efficiency team, Doge, from accessing Treasury Department payment and data systems. They said there was a risk of irreparable harm. What do you make of that? And does that slow you down on what you want to do?
No, I disagree with it 100%. I think it's crazy. And we have to solve the efficiency problem. We have to solve the fraud, waste, abuse, all the things that have gone into the government. You take a look at the USAID, the kind of fraud in there.
And you found significant things.
Well, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars of money that's going to places where it shouldn't be going, where if I read a list, you'd say this is ridiculous, and you've read the same lists, and there are many that you haven't even seen. It's crazy. It's a big scam. Now, there's some good money, and we can do that through any one of a number. I think I'd rather give it to Marco Rubio over at the State Department. Let him take care of the few good ones. So I don't know if it's kickbacks or what's going on, but the people, look, I ran on this, and the people want me to find it. And I've had a great help with Elon Musk, who's been terrific.
Bottom line, you say you trust him.
Trust Elon? Oh, he's not gaining anything. In fact, I wonder how he can devote the time to it. He's so into it. But I told him to do that. Then I'm going to tell him very soon, like maybe in 24 hours, to go check the Department of Education. He's going to find the same thing. Then I'm going to go to the military. Let's check the military. We're going to find billions, hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud and abuse. But I campaigned on this, Brett.
You announced tariffs on Canada and Mexico. You immediately got action from both of them on border security and drug interdiction.
I did. A lot of action.
Is that good enough? Is that good enough?
No, it's not good enough.
So more needed in 30 days.
Something has to happen. It's not sustainable, and I'm changing it.
You know, the Prime Minister said this weekend to a group of Canadian businessmen, he was at a private meeting, he said that your wish for Canada to be the 51st state is a, quote, real thing. Is it a real thing?
Yeah, it is. I think Canada would be much better off being a 51st state because we lose $200 billion a year with Canada, and I'm not going to let that happen. It's too much.
I'm ready to get started. I just want to say good morning to everybody. So let's get this thing going. Margaret Ann, if we could go to the very first slide.
She's got you clear. I think what she'd like to have is a picture of you one time so everybody can see who this genius is that keeps talking out of the woodwork here.
Oh my goodness, I have the perfect face for radio. So we'll just leave it at that, okay? But everyone will get to see us in March. We'll be out there in March at your beef bash, and we're looking forward to it. Definitely looking for a bunch of hugs. We're huggers at this end, and I think you guys are as well. So But we do shake hands, and we do shake a firm hand, just so you know. That's how we're cut. So anyway, we're going to go to the first slide here. Report number 1. I'm going to move this along because I got some things I want to cover here today. At the direction, Ted and I have been having some late night, or you might call early morning conversations. So stick around, you're gonna like this. So
now you're not intimidating. That's pillow talk. That's not pillow talk you're talking about, is it, John?
No.
Oh,
Those are not sweet nothings in our ears or whispering. It has nothing to do with that, Ted. We do that outside. Okay.
All right.
It's all good. So anyway. Prices as of yesterday, when I started working on this prior to the Super Bowl, Golden Eagle, they still have 1,000 face at 99 cents over spot, 1,000 pieces for $1.17 over spot. But if you buy 5 of those bags, it's the same program as last week. You're going to get to 99 cents over spot. And if you look right now, they're running the special on those 50 dimes. If you just want to grab a roll of dimes, don't get a roll of dimes. They were 118 yesterday. 1,000 dimes were 23.82, and 1,000 face dimes were 23.580. That's your best buy right there. So, Margaret, if we can go to the next report there.
We're there.
The next report is we're going to be talking about FNETs, JM Bullion, SB Bullion, Pinback, and Golden Eagle. Ted has really worked hard to make this happen. And the problem with dimes is it's kind of like a lost leader. I'm going to get into that just a little bit at the tail end here today. But there's a lot of markup in this. But if you look at this, Golden Eagle still wins at $32.98, lower than anybody else, price per ounce than any of those other companies. Now, someone might go out there and say, well, I could get a couple of them over here for this price, or I could get maybe a couple cents less over here. That's probably true, but how many can you get? Golden Eagle has went on a limb for Ted, and they have stocked these things. This is huge. Look at JM Bullion. I've got 2 asterisks on that. You know what that means? And you're going to see this every week. I don't mention this all the time, but what that means is it's not always dimes. Sometimes it's quarters. Sometimes it's half dollars. It's their choice. It's dealer choice. It's like going to a dance and you don't get to pick the partner you're going to dance with. It's the caller's choice. Is that going to be fun? Are you going to have a fun night like that? No. You want it your choice. And that's what Golden Eagle has. It is guaranteed dimes, pre-1965 dimes. I also see the chat. Some people like the Roosevelt, some people like the Mercury dimes. It doesn't really matter. The dimes, when it comes down to it, if you got a favorite, you want to collect it that way, that's cool. But the bottom line is that dimes is what you want. Whether they're the Roosevelt or the Mercury dimes, either one will work. Let's go to the next slide, Margaret Ann. Okay. The third one, again, silver rounds, any condition. You've got companies out there that are selling. If you buy 500 of these, you could get them for $35, $33. Ted's got this down to $32.98 for dimes. As of yesterday's numbers, $32.98. Why in the world would anyone buy, unless they want to stack something pretty? That's cool. I'm going to talk about this in a little bit, but you're going to have to buy 500 to get that $35 price. And there might be somebody cheaper out there for some of these things, but the majority of the prices, when I checked these, in fact, I didn't see anything lower than what Ted has for those dimes. Next slide, please.
Okay.
So you might want to go into bars. Okay, talk about bars. Well, if you noticed, on each one of these, whether it's Money Metals or JM Bullion or FX or SG Bullion, the price is when you buy 500 or more. Now, Golden Eagle, if you want to buy bars, that's fine. You can buy any quantity, and they're still going to come out almost 90 cents less than even SB Bullion.
It's like 3%.
But is that what you want to do? You're at 33.09. You can buy it for 32.98. Why in the world would you want to buy an item that is not guaranteed? It's not recognizable. It's not point of the realm. It's exposure to counterfeit. It's not that great guarantee. And there's only one transaction versus 14 dimes. Anyway, keep that in that mind. It's more expensive than Ted Speaks dime deals. Go to the next.
and predicted it back then, I mean, why not? Come on.
It's important to me every single day. It's not about football. It's just giving glory to God for being able to walk around and live my life, to have a beautiful family, to be able to have impact on others. And I'm going to use that stage and that platform, win or lose, to give glory back to Him, to hopefully bring others closer to Him, and that they can have the same love for life that I have because of that.
As someone that's on the fence with the whole idea of Jesus, what would you say to that individual? Why Jesus?
At the end of the day, He's the only way. He's the only way. He's the truth and the life. And there's a lot of other religions that will tell you to do, and Jesus says it's done. And
easy 2 words is that He's better. You know, Jesus is better than football. Jesus is better than anything else you have going in your life. He's just a better king. A better leader, and he loves you more than you could possibly imagine.
Yeah, man. Faith is always the first and foremost in everything I do. The two most important women in my life wouldn't be here without having faith, without God, both being cancer survivors. And so, yeah, they've rooted in me since I was a kid.
Regardless of where you're at in your life, you know, the fact that God came down, took on flesh, and died for our sins, I think that's the biggest thing that I take away and I hold near and dear to my heart every day when I go out and I make decisions for my family, when I play football. If God can do that, you know what I mean, then, I can go out there and try to be the best that I possibly can in glorifying Him and everything.
You know, man, my father, before he passed away, he had 100 years in a federal penitentiary where he was about to be sentenced to that. So, I grew up around, situations where, I had a family member who went to jail for 10 years. So, I would say, man, always believe, because you never know why you're in that situation or why God put you there, and everything happens for a reason. So, just know that.
Why Jesus?
Looking at His example, you just feel so very overwhelmed with gratitude for who He was, what He did, and who He still is, and just so very thankful for all those in my life that have had an impact on me and continue, and we're ever growing, right? I mean, we're instructed to grow in the knowledge of grace and continue to grow as we walk in this life, and that's what comes to mind.
Something we all saw in the Super Bowl yesterday. Margaret and I didn't watch it. We felt that getting the message out to you guys, we figured we'd learn all about the Super Bowl after the fact. Human trafficking in Cuba is very present and an ongoing issue. It has been on the rise for years, especially in regards to forced labor and government-sponsored labor export programs. Studies reveal that the government forced and bribed as many as 30,000 Cuban doctors and medical professionals into human trafficking situations in over 50 countries. Traffickers frequently exploit Cuban victims abroad in South America and the Caribbean, as well as the United States. They also exploit domestic and foreign victims in Cuba, making a claim it's to pay off travel debts. So let's take a look at this Caribbean International Highway. Oh, who wants to learn about a Caribbean International Highway? I thought all these were islands. I thought there was water in between. How are you going to make a highway in between? Oh, goodness, they're going to make tunnels. Trafficking in persons in Cuba's labor export program. Cuba's labor export program is in the context. Each year, the Cuban government sends tens of thousands of workers around the globe under multi-year cooperation agreements negotiated with receiving countries. According to reporting from the Cuban government, there were roughly 28,000 workers in over 60 countries by the end of 2021, the greatest number of Cuban. Cuba is a source of destination country for adults and children subjected to sex trafficking. Child sex trafficking and child sex tourism occur within Cuba. Cuban authorities report people from ages 13 to 20 are most vulnerable to human trafficking in the country. Traffickers also subject Cuban citizens to sex trafficking in South America, the Caribbean, and the United States. Traffickers recruit Cuban citizens through promises of work abroad, providing fraudulent contracts and immigration documents for a fee. And here's the planned route of the Caribbean International Highway. Isn't that interesting? I wonder how much it would cost to do all that. As part of the Caribbean International Highway proposal is an agreement with Everett's peace treaty with Venezuela. To aid in trade between all Caribbean nations, Venezuela wants a connection to the tunnel system. Everett did not want to disturb all the smaller islands along the way, which may damage their ecosystems in clear water and beaches. A proposed tunnel addition named CIH6 would run from Puerto Rico, passing through the Virgin Islands and follow through all of smaller Caribbean nations, passing through St. Kitts and Nevis, Montserrat, Guadeloupe, and Dominican Republic, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Grenada into Venezuela. This remains in discussion, but would open up trade and tourism for all the affected islands and nations. No, I think it's more than trade. I think it's human trafficking. Look at the relationship between people and money, especially in a country like America, the world's largest economy. It's clear that it revolves around the benefits derived from consumption and consumerism. Right now, we're in an era where substances like Prozac, along with other drugs, are widely used. People are consuming massive amounts of these substances while also indulging in popular culture for instant gratification. This mixture of instant gratification fueled by drugs, consumer culture, and easy credit means that people are essentially high throughout the day, engaging in constant consumption. They're addicted to cheap sugar, high fructose corn syrup, and all the product come from massive government subsidies. This creates a cycle where they're running on this endless wheel of consumption, consumerism, 24/7, 365 a year. But the moment the value proposition changes, when getting high on these cheap substances, whether it's drugs, sugar, or entertainment, becomes harder or more costly, that's when you're going to see social unrest. People will suddenly be faced with reality without distractions of their own addictions. This is when real change happens, folks. This is when shift will bring about a day when this economic model of excessive consumption at the expense of humanity grinds to a halt.